Hello everyone, I am Savanenko,
And I'm Lucas Hudson.
and today we're here to talk about the recently released game, Legend of Grimrock. We're gonna go ahead and take you through the first little bit of the game, but we'll start off at the character creation.
Though you do have the option just to hop right into the game using the pre-made characters if you're kind of new to these kind of games.
Alright, so start off, you basically have the options of picking, you have 4 races: human, minotaur, lizardman, and insectoid, which is kind of weird, unexpected. And you get 3 classes: fighter, mage, and rogue.
Yeah, and typically what you want to do with your character creation is you have your 2 frontline fighters, or your 2 frontline characters being fighters, and then your back row being more DPS, 1 mage and 1 rogue.
Now, both frontline guys still do a fair bit of damage. There's no real like DPS or anything like that. It's nice to have a bit of variety. Because if you have if you're focusing on swords, for example, for one of the guys, and your back row also needs swords, it just doesn't quite work. Plus, the mage provides a lot of really good utility for you.
Exactly, yeah. So what we've done with the Minotaur here, we've kind of mixed it up and decided to go with unarmed combat with our Minotaur. Selecting both Headhunter and Fistfighter as our traits, which is, if you saw before, Headhunter, we get, I think it's 3 strength per each skull.
It's 3 attack power. You get 3 attack power for every skull in your inventory, and that is a Minotaur only trait.
Right. And then Fistfighter is extra attack power when using unarmed combat.
So he's basically going to be going around punching dudes with his ridiculous strength. Our Lizardman is more of an evasion sort of guy. As you saw, he has a fair bit of dexterity, but he focuses on strength for the damage, and then dexterity and vitality are pretty equal. And we went with agile and aggressive, so he has more dexterity from that, and aggressive gives him a nice little boost to attack power.
Yeah, and we also are going to level up his sword skills throughout the game.
Now, for the rogue, I believe we went strength, because even though you may think dexterity is great for a rogue, it doesn't actually affect your damage. If you're using a bow, or if you're using like a crossbow or whatever, it still uses strength. Now, the developer said it makes it a little simpler. It's a little counterintuitive when you first get into it, but once you find that out, you know that you have to basically go for strength, even on those kind of guys.
Yeah, and for our rogue, we decided to go with an assassination dagger combination. At assassination level 12, you get this skill called reach. So our rogue in the back row is going to be able to attack characters, even though he's in the back row, which you typically can't do.
Yep, the only way you can do it normally is with the spear. And we also made an insectoid mage, because insects have the highest sort of, they start off with the highest wisdom, and we believe we gave him bonus wisdom and bonus skill points to start off.
Yeah, and we distributed the skills with 2 in fire, because there's a very effective fire skill early on, and then we put in 2 in skill power and then 2 in staff defense, correct?
Yeah, and by skill power you mean spellcraft. Spellcraft is basically the all-around sort of spell you'd want to have. You need a certain amount of spellcraft to wield staffs and stuff like that, and it also gives you some nice bonus spells as well as just random stat bonuses and stuff like that.
Yeah, and as you've seen here, basically your 4 prisoners being punished for your crimes by going to the top of this mountain and getting plunged into the dungeon. And if you get out of the dungeon yourself, you're absolved of all your crimes.
Don't know how they survived the fall, but here they are. This little room you start off in. You gotta kind of look around. One thing you'll notice is we do look around a lot, just because there's frequently secrets in walls, like a little secret button you can push on a rock, and they're usually in the most weird places. So I'd recommend keeping an eye out for that all the time.
Yeah, so if it's a little sickening watching us play, it's because we're always looking out for things on the wall. And as you can see, as we mentioned before, you have 4 characters, and they're put in a front row and a back row. So depending on where an enemy attacks you from, those are the characters that are going to take the damage. So if you have an enemy in front of you attacking you, your front 2 characters, which would be the Minotaur and our Lizardman right now, are the other ones going to take damage.
Now, if you notice, the way you move around is very robotic. It is basically because you move each click takes, like, if you push forward, you move one forward. If you hold it, it's not gonna work as well because you don't know how many times it basically clicks the button for you. You turn left and right using basically use the WASD keys as well as the Q and E keys to move around. A lot of people might be like, you start off with strafe on A and D. Some people might find it a little easier to switch it to Q and E, which is what's in most games that are first person or even third person. You have Q and E as your strafe and A and D as your just turn. And that's basically, I found that to be a lot more helpful.
Right.
Actually, sorry.
Well,
Go
you were
ahead.
saying you use that because you used to play WoW, correct?
Yeah, in WoW and just even a lot of FPS games can help with that. And
Okay.
here's actually an example of that whole secret rock thing. It's a little more obvious here because they tell you it's there, just so they teach you that in the future, when you go around, there might be other rocks like this.
And
So
as
you know to keep an eye out for that.
Right, and as you can just see that we picked up a key in that little cove in the wall, and you can see I'm looking for rocks right now in the wall. So you use the keys to open up doors in in the dungeon.
Here's actually a first little bit of combat. We're fighting a giant snail. Not very intimidating, but it's pretty tough.
Right.
And if you notice on the mage, it's an interesting spellcasting system. You basically you click on one of your hands, which have which you can cast spells, and you have 9 different runes, and the spells you cast are a combination of those runes. Some of them are pretty simple, like most of the basic spells are just like top left, top right, top or bottom left, bottom right, one of those two, or just pick one of those 4, and you're good to go. You got a spell. Some of them get a little more complicated.
Right, and as you can see, I've cheated a little bit because I've played this game before, and I already know the fire spell. You don't actually need to learn spells, you just need to learn their combinations. As you can see, I tried to use a different spell there, but I don't have my ice like skill trait leveled up enough to use it, so I only have my fire ability, which I just used there, available.
Yeah. Also, you may notice that the rogue doesn't do much in combat right now because all he can do is just throw that. He can throw that spear and throw his little knife, and that is all, because he can't reach from the back row.
Exactly, and as you saw, I threw. You throw the little knife, but once the enemy is defeated, you automatically pick up whatever you threw, like the projectile you threw at them, after they die. So that
It's a little different. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say I just find it a really great way they built this game.
Yeah,
I think
it's really handy.
yeah, I remember watching beta footage of this game, and you actually had to pick up all the projectiles after they were dropped. Like after you killed something, you'd have to manually pick up all the projectiles.
Yeah.
So-
Now here, there's actually a little puzzle, but we already know what it is, so we kind of cheated there. Just toss the rock, and you get across. Except, wait for it. You just fell down. Wait, you didn't fall down.
No,
I
I didn't pick
always
up the
fell
rock
down.
again.
Oh, interesting. See, because whenever I played it, I would always pick up the rock. Because I'd have my guy throw rocks all the time instead of throwing this one knife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, let's see, what did we get? I mentioned something else. See, we pick up. There's always gear. Well, not always, but there's frequently you find gear just lying around. So you always gotta keep an eye out for that. You'll find small little things like throwing knives, ninja stars, bombs, clothing, just lying around random places you might not see right away.
Yeah. So you always want to look on your mini map with tab. That will pop up the auto generated map.
Now, if you're playing on hardcore mode where you don't get that, you have to map your own travels. It's pretty intense. I don't know if I'd ever want to do that. Maybe after a couple playthroughs I'd consider it. But for your first playthrough, I definitely don't recommend that.
Yeah. And as you can see, oh, what was I gonna say? I forget what I was gonna say. It's gonna come back to me.
So yeah, we had that little room there with the head with no eyes. Pretty simple puzzle. They basically want you to find the eyes. At least that's what you'll see in a minute once we clear out all these rooms. You'll see a lot of puzzles. There's very little direction in some puzzles. You just gotta kind of figure out by playing through them, and it's a little challenging at times, especially some of the later on. You run into something you have no idea what you're doing. But some of the early puzzles are pretty straightforward. They kind of teach you to know what to look for as you play.
Right. And as you can see, there are two basic strategies for combat in this game. One is the backwards strafing technique, where you find a long hallway and you attack the monsters. Basically, they move and attack a little slower than you, so you can always attack them, move back one space before they can actually reach you. And then, as you can see there, there's the kind of strafe left and right technique, where you go back and forth. The enemy characters turn but before they can turn and attack you, you strafe out of the way. So you get to hit them for free while they don't do any damage to you. And as you can see, that the mage right now is pretty much out of energy, so it takes a lot longer to kill things without mage energy. The mage is a big source of your damage.
Yeah, especially later on. You'll see it later, but I think there are some enemies that move around in groups of like 3 or 4 or like 2 on the same square. So having your guys just punch one guy at a time, it's not very effective. But having your mage hit 8, like all 4 of them for like 80 damage, pretty nice.
Yeah, I didn't show it, but I just picked up a dagger for the rogue. So later on, once the rogue levels up 2 levels, because you get 4 skill points every level up, I'm pretty sure you're going to see all the characters level up in this video. You'll see that you get 4 skill points every time you level up, and we want to get that rogue up, its assassination up as quick as possible, so we can get it from attacking from behind. Because right now it's doing that one range attack, and then doesn't do much.
But yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why in my playthrough, when I was playing with when I was trying it out, I carried all those rocks around, because even though you only have one knife, you can find a bunch of rocks around. You can throw those pretty easily.
Yeah, I was just always worried about losing rocks. I don't know why.
Yeah. So as you see here, we were killing more snails. You see them, like, I don't know if you saw on the last couple bit, but right there they drop a bit of food or something, but it's actually food. Because your characters actually have... oh, and just one little quick thing there, Lucas can actually drag around your party, so you can adjust them any way you want. But the food, for example, is... You can see it right there, it's a little green bar. You need it to actually get through the game. Because if you don't eat the food, your characters will start starving, and then when you're resting, if they're starving, they will not get... Their health will not come back.
Right, I think we'll have an example of resting soon, too. And basically, when you rest by pressing R or see those little Z's at the top of each character box, you regain both health and mana, but you consume food. Correct?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure if it consumes food. I haven't really. That's one thing I've been meaning to check out, but never actually have.
Right. And here I made a little mistake. I actually jumped into the cage with both of the snails, so I have to fight the snails head on, which typically for snails isn't a big issue, but once you find other monsters like spiders and skeleton warriors, fighting something head on is not fun.
Especially since you can frequently get caught in a corner and just absolutely trapped.
Right. Yeah. When you're fighting more than one enemy at a time, you have to be very careful about your positioning, because you can get killed very quickly when you get trapped. Because evasion and strafing is a big part of this game.
You see here we're gonna backtracking, just checking out the walls, make sure we didn't miss any special like secret areas, because they pop up in the weirdest places, really.
Yeah, I do not remember doing this, but apparently I was a little paranoid of missing some secrets. But let's quickly talk about the graphics of this game. They are just amazing. Right now you only see the initial kind of jungle rock tile set, but there are also a stone tile set that is in the 5th level of the jungle that brings a great new look to the game, but also looks amazing.
It's impressive, like for like a fairly small indie game. It looks really nice.
Yeah, and we think like that's kind of due to its kind of on rails, like how the game actually works, it being on rails. It probably doesn't have to take into account all the different angles when you're making a 3D game like this. So it's a lot easier to, maybe not a lot easier, but it's a little easier to make a nice looking game.
Now, as you saw here, we defeated that skeleton warrior, and we picked up a shield and a spear. So what the shield does is give you extra evasion, and what the spear does is give you reach. And we also found a staff in a little secret area for our mage, which boosts his energy by a little bit. You'll find those secret doors on every level, the iron doors, and they're some of them are pretty complex, some of them are pretty simple. Not a lot of hints how to get through them. That one had a bit of a hint. Others, not so much.
Yeah, I remember the other ones have almost nothing, or maybe you have to search for the hints to get a hint to find out how to open a door.
Yeah.
And as you can see, these scrolls here, they're like more orange. Those are specifically scrolls for spells.
And right there, we just went down to a lower level. This is actually level 2 of the dungeon. Every time you advance, it's basically a whole new area. Your map, you see, you have a little journal with all the pages of everything you've explored. And every time you go down one, it basically starts up a new page, and it's a whole new level.
Right, and as you can see now, the rogue in the bottom left now has a spear. So that rogue, even without the assassination skill, can attack from behind with that spear. So it gives us a little more DPS when we're fighting monsters.
It's really helpful because early on, when you have just the 2 guys and a mage, it gets pretty painful.
Yeah. Oh, something interesting that happened right here. The torches actually burn out as you have them equipped to your characters. So right there, I switched out the torch with the one on the wall, and you can see the lighting has changed. It was more of an orange hue before, and now it's back to its kind of whitish glow.
And right here, actually, everybody got a level, and what we're going to focus on is unarmed combat for our Minotaur, 'cause that's what he's going to do. He's going to go around punching dudes.
I meant to go 2 in armor and 2 in athletics there, just to get the protection and the strength, but accidentally clicked too much in unarmed combat.
Well, it's going to work out at the end, hopefully. We gave our rogue 4 points in assassination so he can start backstabbing, so when you position yourself behind somebody, you deal a bunch of extra damage. And I believe for the other warrior, we gave him
I think
a
I
bit
gave
of
him
athletics.
2 armor, 2 athletics to give the protection.
And for our mage, we went with the air skill. We put all 4 points of there, so now he has a bit of variety. He has a fireball, kind of, and sort of lightning shock spell.
Yeah, you haven't learned it, but I know the spell for it, so I'm sure you'll see it soon. And there I just pointed out that door is locked with another key. Their keys come in doors in all different varieties. And as you can also see, that I'm always picking up the rocks and the torches off the walls. Mainly because rocks, you always need rocks to put on pressure plates to solve puzzles later on in the game. And I just find torches are always a good thing to have because they both can activate pressure plates, and they don't weigh too much, and you're gonna run out of fire eventually.
Yeah, it's nice to have the torch with you, just because I usually carry at least one with me, because if one starts to burn out, and I'm in an area there's not a lot of light, before you get the light spell, which you get from actually raising your spellcraft for your mage, having an extra torch on him is really handy.
And here we're encountering there's the air spell. We're encountering our 5th or 4th enemy that we've seen today. This is kind of a spellcaster ent. He throws the poison darts at you, and it's probably the hardest enemy for the early levels.
Yeah, they're really frustrating to deal with, because if he does poison you, the poison is pretty damaging and it lasts a fair bit as well.
And it hurts all of your team. And here you can see I got caught in between 2 different
mushroom guys.
Yeah, 2 different mushroom guys, and he throws his poison at me, and I actually lose my mage. So if if you lose a character, the only way to get them back is to click on. Well, there's probably a potion you can make, but I haven't found one yet. Or two, you can click on those big blue stones that we saw at the end of the first level.
Yeah, it's the stones. They only last a little bit. They don't last the entire. Like if you use them once, they go away. So try not to just go ahead and use them right off the bat.
Well, the stones they regenerate eventually.
Hmm.
So I don't. I'm sure it's timed somehow, but basically you can click on them, go around the dungeon, and then click on it again to restore your health and mana. Plus, get a save and restore anyone who's died.
They're there's some parts later on where those stones are invaluable. Just you'll run into rooms where you get trapped, you make a mistake, and running out with just two guys or just one guy is really it's crippling.
Yeah. The one thing about having the insectoid as your mage is that he is basically a glass cannon. He cannot take any damage, or he's going to die right away, and then you've just lost a lot of your DPS. So as you can see here, there's a clue on the wall saying shelter to the left, cells to the right. There's going to be kind of subtle clues like that saying there's a secret around, but not really giving you a hint of how to solve the secret. So
that one particular was pretty simple. Some of the ones you'll encounter later are a little bit more annoying.
Yeah.
That they're really abstract.
So you basically just have to think about what you can do in a room, and then do all the combinations of what you can do to figure out the puzzle.
So over here again, more snails. We're trying to sort of advance through this area. You actually pick stuff up through the cage. You can't reach everything in the back, but right there in the front there was, I believe,
A cloth.
armor, a cloth armor or something. You can pick that up, and also that key.
Which
look around.
Conveniently opens up this door.
Yeah, and at that point you can go back to that where you just were, and actually find a little secret and get some poison arrows, I believe.
Yep. So that's why it's always important to look around on the walls to get those hidden secrets, because basically the best armor and weapons you're gonna find are in those secret passages. And a quick tip right there: when you're selecting rocks or anything that you can store multiple of in one block, you can click just one of them by using the shift key and click.
Yeah, that's actually pretty helpful. Over here, there's another little secret which Lucas just went ahead and solved for you. It says no weapons allowed, I believe, or something similar to that.
Yeah.
And took me a little while. First, I tried to just take off all weapons from my guys. What you're really gonna do is you put a weapon on the pedestal there. So again, it's another puzzle which you can figure out pretty easily yourself. It's just you gotta think a little differently.
Yeah, and we didn't mention this before, but I picked up a compass, and he's on our lizard man right now. It's not incredibly useful to use. I basically just equipped it to show you guys that there is a compass in the game, but it's mainly used for people that are in hardcore mode, trying to rummage around the dungeons, not knowing, like not having a map developed by yourself, so you can know exactly what direction you're going in.
It's like I said, it's pretty useless for us right now, but it does add a lot of I can see it being if I ever get around to playing a hardcore game, get like a little notebook, some pen and paper, and I see that coming in really helpful. Especially with some later puzzles, you do run into some portals, which teleport you all around.
Yes.
Those can be really frustrating. And there's actually a little room that I've never seen.
You've never been in here?
Nope. I have never seen this room before, and I need to go back and get that.
They're not great. They give you a bit of dexterity and all of that.
And you can see up ahead, there's actually one of those crystals that can save one of our teammates. We just gotta find the second key, which it's gonna be a bit of a pain. So again, I'm kind of looking around, see what's going on.
And as
See,
you can
yeah, he actually we just ate some food on two of our guys because one of them was in the yellow, and when you're in the yellow, you get a little bit weaker. I think you actually lose some damage,
okay.
and that's actually one of the portals I was just talking about earlier. It's basically a little thing that puts you somewhere. I think there's a puzzle here. I don't know what much of a puzzle it was.
I think
Uh,
you can press you can press the other button ahead right now. There's a button left of that skeleton man that I think if you press that one rather than the button I pressed, you don't have to fight the skeleton man.
yeah, I actually just kept spamming the button when I was playing, and ended up just sending him away somewhere.
Right.
No idea where. And again,
Now,
if you hit it again, there's a little sack that comes in, which is really, really handy. You'll find out that you can find boxes, you find more sacks. I don't know if you find any other things. You probably do. But what it is basically like a bag in WoW or any other game where you can store extra stuff in it.
right.
It still takes up the weight like it would normally,
hmm
but it's pretty handy having one with you can just toss everything in there. Not so much right now because we're still really early on and don't have a lot of stuff to carry around. But later on, it's really useful.
So right before we finish off this I guess introduction video to Legend of Grimrock, we'll show you kind of one of the hardest fights you'll get challenged by in the first little bit. And of course I wanted to resurrect my mage before I do anything in this room. Basically what happens in here is 3 skeleton warriors pop up at once. And you have to be very careful when you do this fight.
It's actually not at once. They come in a little. There's a bit of a time
Right.
delay between them, so you might be able to kill one of them, or to maybe even like kill them all one at a time and not have to worry about it. But actually, we just got there. One
Yeah.
guy just came out right at the end. So if you're quick, you should be able to get this pretty easily. But this is like exactly the kind of situation where you can get cornered and absolutely destroyed
like
by
right
these guys.
here. Luckily I killed that guy right before. I remember the first time I did this fight, it probably took me 3 or 4 tries to do this because I didn't know all the spells I knew right now.
Yeah, because a magic it does a fair bit of damage. It's not always the most damaging thing you have, but it just having it with you as opposed to not having it, like having like a 4 rogue or a 4 warrior party, for example, it's just much better to have a little extra like AOE, which the mage provides.
Right, and the mage also provides some ranged attacks through the ice spell that we just learned. So if you upgrade your ice, you'll be able to get some great damage. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, yeah. Basically, the ice spell just provide a whole lot of straight line AOE, and that's really it. That's all we really got to show you for this video. We're probably gonna come back to this, do another video later on once we actually advance and get a little bit more out of it. Get later on so you can see how the game changes from the starting point to maybe more of a mid and sort of the end game.
Yeah, so we hope you like this kind of introduction to Legend of Grimrock. We are, well, I'm Lucas,
And I'm Sava.
and this has been a Joyblind production. Check us out at www.joyblind.com. Check us out at Twitter at Joyblind, and I guess we'll see you guys next time.
All right, have a good one, guys.